Today I'm going to talk about recovering from the Shamrock Shuffle Virtual AK and what's next. 8.03 miles, 8 minutes, 38 seconds from 141 beats per minute today. Going for a nice and easy run after the Shamrock Shuffle Virtual AK race that I ran the day before. Really just to kind of see what things are going to feel like for me. Normally, I'm more accustomed to racing half marathons and marathons, so racing an AK is a distance that I don't normally run, and I wanted to see kind of like what my legs were going to feel like today and how long is it going to take me to get back into kind of regular training for whatever it is that I'm training for next. So I did throw some strides in there for today, and they didn't feel great. They didn't feel fast at all, but it was nice to do that, kind of like, you know, work through all the gears and make sure that I'm clearing out the system from kind of all the lingering gunk. And I definitely felt like there was still a lot of left lingering effects from that race. And the numbers that I have to show for it kind of bear that out as well. Numbers that I typically look at to see how well my body is recovering or how ready my body might be for kind of like the next workout is I look at the nightly recharge numbers that I get from my Polar watch, and that's something that it gives me. We wear it all night, and then it not only gives you your sleep numbers, like how long did you sleep, how much deep sleep, REM sleep, light sleep did you have, which is important to look at from a quality of sleep perspective, and that can also give you a lot of information as to how well your body is recovering or how ready your body is for another workout. But the main thing that I look at is the nightly charge, and there's a couple of things that it looks at in order to tell you what your autonomic nervous system is doing. So the three pieces of data that it gives you that I look very closely at on a pretty much daily basis, but especially from a recovery basis, is the heart rate variability, and my respiration rate. And so those are things that it's tracking while I'm sleeping, and that kind of gives me insight into like what is my body kind of like telling me. So by the heart rate, that is something that I look for to be like a low number. The heart rate variability, that's something I look to be a high number, and the respiration rate, I look to be a low number. The idea being, if my body is in a relaxed state, in a recovered state, it doesn't need to work very hard. The respirations stay low, the heartbeat stays low, everything's kind of just like very relaxed and chill. And the heart rate variability can be pretty high. The idea being like, if I'm straining, then like kind of like when I'm straining in a race, I have to really focus on making sure I'm in a really good rhythm. Your heart rate variability kind of does the same thing, and the heart rate variability goes low when the body is under strain. When the body isn't under strain, it's kind of like loosey-goosey, and it kind of like does whatever it wants to do. It goes with the flow, and that variability number kind of goes up. At least that's how I, as a layperson, kind of understand these numbers. So what have my numbers been so far? The night after the Shamrock Shuffle, my heart rate was 60 beats per minute, which is, I guess, kind of like a low number, but my normal number over the last 28 days, because it can track you and give you kind of like historical kind of context. My last 28 days, the average has been 55 beats per minute. So the heart rate while I'm sleeping is elevated. My heart rate variability is low, which is another sign that my body still needs to recover more. The heart rate variability is 33 milliseconds, when normally it's 43 milliseconds. So normally what I look for is like 40 or more, means I'm in a recovered state, my body is doing well. If I'm below 40, and especially if I'm below 40 for like a couple of days, that either means like the workouts are really taking a toll on the body and I'm not recovering well, or it means that I might be picking up a cold. That's kind of like, that heart rate variability number is kind of, for me, the most important number. That usually is a really strong indicator that like my body's working hard, even when I'm sleeping. So that 33 is a really, really low number for me, and higher is better. And right now it's not higher. So the last number that I'll look at is the respiration rate. It's 14.4 breaths per minute. And normally I look kind of like with the heart rate variability, I have like a benchmark number that I look at. My average for the last 28 days has been 13.8. But normally I think if anything that I'm in the 13s means like my body's in a good condition, it's ready to take on more work. Right now it's at 14.4, which is I think probably the highest it's been in like the last month. So really, really high. So, you know, even though I'm resting, I don't need to put that in air quotes. Even though I'm resting, I am resting, the body is still feeling strain, and it's like working hard on the inside, trying to kind of like fix things and recover. I have one more night of data because right now I'm filming this on Tuesday morning. And so the numbers I just showed you were like Sunday night into Monday. Now I'll show you Monday into Tuesday. Numbers are pretty similar, but they're like, you know, inching up towards better. And so the heart rate is 57 beats per minute. Again, higher than the average, but you know, lower than the 60 beats per minute that I had the night before. So a good sign. The heart rate variability, we're at 34. So still really, really low, meaning like my body's focusing to like repair itself during sleep. That's kind of how I feel about it. I know that's not literally what that number means, but that's kind of how I envision it. It's still like not in a relaxed, like, you know, kind of loosey-goosey state. So that's better, but kind of pretty much the same. 33 and 34, I'm going to say, are pretty much like the same number. So still recovering. And then the respiration rate is 13.4. So that's a lot lower, and that's actually lower than my average has been over the last 28 days. So I feel like, okay, the initial like strain of the race was last night, and now it's like, okay, we're repairing, we're getting better, and it looks like recovery is going well. And I do think that that means that I'll be ready to at least take on some new workouts, maybe not right away, but soon. I mean, I don't think I'm going to need to rest as long as I would need to recover from, say, running a marathon or even a half marathon. And so, which, you know, makes intuitive sense to me, but it looks like the numbers are going to like support me on that one too, at least what the numbers that I'm getting from my watch. So what I think I'm going to be doing next is, you know, I felt like I left a little bit on the table. I think there was a lot left to be desired in terms of the execution on that 8K. I don't really want to run another 8K, but I do think that I'm going to try to tackle one of kind of like my running goals that I've had kind of like on my checklist for a little while is to tackle another 10K. I'd love to be able to get under 40 minutes for the 10K. I have to go look at see. I've done a couple of 10K time trials over the last year, and those numbers weren't stellar. You know, I didn't really specifically train for a 10K, and I'm not going to go through like another 7 or 8 week training period for this next 10K. I think I'm just going to kind of ride the coattails of the training plan that I've already done. Through the Jack Daniels running formula plan that I've been following. A lot of Jack Daniels plans are designed for people that are running seasons. So like the end of that training plan has it built in so that you can race on a weekend, recover throughout the week, and then race even the following weekend, or maybe 2 weekends away. And so I think I'm going to be looking really closely at that, seeing what that Jack Daniels plans has for it, because I think I'm going to try to run another 10K in 2 or 3 weeks. Again, it's going to be virtual, it'll be a time trial, but kind of keep a closer eye on what's going on with the body in terms of recovery, see how I feel. I'd like to get in like 1 or 2 maybe workouts in, maybe not full workouts, but like some workouts in to just kind of get the legs moving again. It's making sure that I'm in a position where I can execute. And so we'll see. But right now I'm thinking in 2 or 3 weeks, 2 weekends is Easter. 3 weekends would be, you know, obviously the weekend after Easter, like April 10th, that kind of area. So April 3rd, April 10th, somewhere in that area, I'm thinking I'm going to go try to do a 10K time trial and try to bake 40 minutes. To do that, I'd basically have to run a little bit slower than what I ran for this 8K, you know, a couple of seconds per mile slower, but then add in another like 1.25 miles. So I like to think of it that way. It makes it sound a little bit easier rather than thinking of it as like a 25% longer race. It's just 1.25 miles longer. The good thing about these shorter distances like an 8K is that, you know, it's something that you can do more than like twice a year, like if you're racing marathons. So I'm going to see where I can go with that. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments down below, or stop by the live stream I do just about every day on YouTube, 3 p.m. Central Time. I'd love to see you there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?